about your freedom. I have found in you, you're the healer who makes all things new. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm not going back, I'm moving ahead, here to declare to you, my past is over. You, things are made new, surrendered my life to Christ. I'm moving forward.
Good evening and welcome to The Walk, where we worship and live kingdom. As you can see, my co-host, Evangelist Octavia, is not here today for circumstances that she has no control over. She's not able to attend, but she is watching. So, hello, Octavia. And to everyone else that has tuned in, I thank you for tuning in to The Walk. I'm so happy to have you tune in and take a little time out of your schedule. I know it's cold outside and you're home in your warm houses, or either you're on your phones watching, whatever the case is, we thank you. And also I like to say season's greetings, because it is Christmas time. And the whole meaning of Christmas, Christmas is one of my favorite holidays. It's the whole meaning of Christmas is so important to me. Let me give you a little background regarding Christmas. Christmas itself is, it has a lot of different origins and everything, historical background and all that. One of the things is when, during Christmas is, there is some beliefs depending on what religion you are. Some people believe that Christmas was a pagan holiday and it started because it was the celebration of the winter solstice. I was supposed to have a co-host, but I guess my co-host felt that he didn't have to come on time. To fill in for my host, who is always timely, is my husband and my pastor, Pastor Robert Bailey Jr.
How y'all doing?
He's going to help fill in as we talk about our discussion. What I was telling everybody was some of the origins of Christmas began with paganism. And for whatever reason now, people still can't let that go, because as Christians, we have basically used this time where they would have it be pagans, and which is people that worship nature and all that. They switched. We have changed it for the better. We take this time to observe the birth of Christ. We celebrate Christ. We celebrate love that God gave us. We celebrate the whole story of the Immaculate Conception.
Yeah.
And do you know what Immaculate Conception means?
Immaculate means big.
Immaculate Conception means miracle birth. It means that God came down from heaven and got Mary pregnant, basically. So what it is that
the Spirit.
Yes, the Spirit of the Holy Spirit visited her.
Yes.
And she became with child.
Yes, she did.
And that was Immaculate Conception.
That was immaculate.
But like I said, some people believe that the whole Christmas idea of Christmas dealt with, why they. Some people don't even believe in celebrating Christmas because they said it's so wrapped up in that stuff that's going on and the pagans and the Christmas, the tree, and people are worshiping trees. But I just believe that Christmas is about sharing and giving and the love of Christ.
It is.
What do you think?
I think it's about love and sharing and joy and peace. It brings a lot of hope to people.
Yes.
Yes.
So the whole history with the pagans and the tree and the fertility and all that, that's what they did. That's what they did. But
that's not what we do.
Yeah, that's not what we do. So that's what we're discussing it now. We want to talk about the idea of sharing at Christmas time. Let me fill you in. What we did last month is we had a 25-day seed sowing challenge.
25 days seed
Yes,
sowing
and
challenge.
during our 25 days of seed sowing, our crew, who you will have the pleasure of meeting shortly, participated. Yes, we have
Got a crew, boy.
Matter of fact, here's our host, Octavia.
Our host is here. Hey, host.
Hello. Hello. Oh, she wanted to be a part, so she is trying to call in and everything.
She's hosting from the phone.
But what we did on our 25-day seed sowing challenges, we took time to randomly sow seeds into different people's lives. It could be something that, like buying lunch. It could be just taking the time to have a conversation with somebody that nobody may talk to, or it may even be giving a ride to somebody that needs to have a lift or whatever. But what we want to do is see what the benefits and the reaping of that sharing would come across. Now, one thing I have to tell you, and I think I mentioned it, is that just because you sow in one season does not mean that you're going to get your harvest that same season.
Right.
You might get your harvest a little while later, but it's going to come. You will get a harvest for the seed you sow. Now, that's why you got to be careful with what you sow.
And where you sow. Because some grounds are not fit for you to receive a harvest from. So you have to be careful. Even in doing good for people, you still have to be careful in doing it. So you won't do it in arrogance or in pride, or because you're responsible for doing it. You do it because it's out of the cheerfulness or the kindness of your heart.
Exactly. Speaking of kindness of the heart, since Christmas is the holiday season, the season of sharing, this is what we're doing. The show today is going to focus on sharing during Christmas.
Sharing during Christmas.
Yes.
And
whatever is shared during Christmas. It can be gifts. It's not always gifts. It can be time. It can be.
Well, I forgot she was on this phone.
We not only just focusing on the material things, but those things which are spiritual as well. Because a lot of people get caught up in the spiritual gifts in the material gifts and say, well, I'm not having a good Christmas because I don't have anything to share. I don't have anything to buy. I don't have anything. But just give it up.
I agree. I mean, even in doing that, our best gifts are things we don't have to buy, because if you're giving out of your heart, and you're giving out of what you have, the abundance of the heart, I can guarantee you, God gets the more glory out of that. He said, "Give, and it shall be given unto you. Good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over, shall men give into your bosom." And so I'm of the persuasion that the more we give, and the more we give that don't cost us nothing, the better it is for us. Sharing is a very important thing. It really helps us to understand not only where we are, but where other people are. It helps us to be able to appreciate what God has given us, as well as to be able to help somebody else who's in need, or who desires more, or who's asking for more. I think if we don't share enough, we can't really understand what people are going through or what they're dealing with. And so it really helps us to be able to share, not just because we have it, but share because we know that it comes back to us in the benefit of what God has for us.
Okay, so since we're speaking of sharing, and since we're talking about, what I did is I tried to connect our host into the house speaker so you can hear her. Can you hear me? When we turn the speaker on, you'll be able to hear it. But what we're gonna do is
The volume must be down. She got shocked. Well, I tell you, that's what happens when you share. You share with the microphone, it shocks you. That's a shocker. He talked to us, host.
Well,
Let me do it.
I'll
be right back.
Wait, what we're trying to do is put her through the house speaker so you can hear her. Like I said, even though she's not here physically, she does want to be here She really wants to be here. So what we're going to do is we're trying to incorporate her into the house speaker.
Talk. Hold on, Jesus. Hold on, Jesus.
It's on speaker.
Okay, go ahead and talk. Host. What?
I guess you can hear.
When we were hearing
Okay.
from the
I guess you can hear her.
and like hearing what the best feel, you know, or when they talk to it, hear from our house.
That's too low.
Oh.
So, when I hear it, and I think about Christ more because we've gotten caught up still in because what about the real reason of which is the gift of Christ? Because the word is, for God so loved, he gave his son. That was the best to have.
What our host said is that God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son, and that's the best gift that anyone could give us, was the gift of Christ. So what I'm going to do, since we have prolonged and we've walked around and we've messed with the speaker and everything has been thrown out, what we're going to do is we have two people. We have a crew. We do have a crew that we work with.
Have a crew.
And during this time, this is what we were looking at, is we have different aspects of what Christmas means to different families. The common factor in Christmas should be for our Christian families is the love of Christ.
It is.
However, when you get deeper into the subject, there's other aspects that will affect your sharing during Christmas.
Right.
Pastor and myself, we have no children. But Christmas is not just about the kids. However, for those that do have children, children play a big part in Christmas. For those that are single and trying to, do it on their own, not trying, they're doing it, on their own, and they're raising the children. And Christmas, may have different aspects. The children may share Christmases with both parents. If one parent is not actively involved, the other parent might have to take the brunt of, finances. So the sharing on that might be a little different.
It may be.
Another aspect is you might have a two-parent household, and Christmas sharing might have a different aspect. So what we did is we asked a couple of our crew members. We have several crew members, but we asked a couple of our crew members to come and participate. We're going to have our videographer.
Videographer. That is the person who does the video.
Yes, she's gonna help.
Okay.
We're gonna ask Netra Williams to come.
Come on down.
Netra is married, and she has a whole slew of children.
She have a whole burn
A whole slew of them. And so Christmas might mean a little something different to her. And on the other hand, we have a single parent. Evangelist Tina Jefferson, come on.
Yes, who is she? Our scripter?
She is our phone answerer.
Yes, she is the one who picks up the phone.
And she's also she's our live audience.
She's the live audience.
She's our marketing person.
She's the people that say clap when it's
yeah, she's our marketing person.
So if nobody clap, that's because she over here, all right?
And so what we ask is that that they give their take on how Christmas sharing affects them as a family and their aspect of a family. So let me ask you ladies. Sharing, first of all, what does sharing mean to each of you? Christmas sharing.
Okay. To me, sharing, since I'm also over outreach at Restoration of
Don't
Praise.
speak on my cocoa.
Since I'm also over outreach at Restoration of Praise, sharing means to me is giving back to the community. Not only to our church, we give to the community, we go out, we do things, and we do it as a family. My kids come with me. I do it with the church. So that's my part of sharing during Christmas time, is giving back and thinking of others.
So I have a question for you. What do you do?
We gotta give
No, that's fine.
Nature a chance to answer.
Well, I mean, yeah, we'll come back to that. I mean, you know, don't forget the question so you can answer. But I just have a question. What do you do, you know, outside of church that you do for your home, you know, or you guys share together during the season?
Actually, I have one.
Because it may be somebody that's like that at home. Okay,
Well,
go ahead.
Actually, during this time, I have wonderful in-laws who take my kids during the Christmas holidays. They go with their dad. I grew up not really doing Christmas. My grandmother raised us. Christmas we didn't do. So I'm kind of new into this actually, and it did play a big part with the kids because it was funny with me when I got married and he wanted to do Christmas and I didn't want to do Christmas because I was raised not to do Christmas, but yet we had the kids who were yelling, "Mama, why we don't have a Christmas tree and why we don't have?" So I had to eventually decide, okay, what does Christmas mean to me? Not so much what it meant to grandmother or what it meant to mom, but what does it mean to me? So when I decided that Christmas was more of sharing and caring, I began to do that instead. So I still don't put up a Christmas tree or things like that, but my kids go to Fort Worth with the in-laws and they do the whole big Christmas thing.
Cool.
So.
So I got a question to answer one. But what does it mean to you sharing during Christmas with your aspect, your whole family dynamic?
We basically just share with our families or our friends, party together,
Party.
yeah. Things of that nature. We don't do the outreach thing, but if we have things that are old to us, we give them to family members and it's considered new. So we do that.
I mean, that's
and we
still
actually
sharing.
do that throughout the year, so it's not just Christmas.
Okay, going back to the whole thing, when I first started, I talked about how some people do not like to, you know, they don't believe in, you know, the whole Christmas festivities. Not that they don't believe Christ is born.
Right.
Some people just don't believe in the festivities of Christmas. They don't think that it's necessary for the tree and the lights and all that kind of stuff. Did your grandmother give you a reason why she didn't want to do it?
She just said that when she became into the realization of it, she said that a lot of times we put so much emphasis on the things that we lose sight of what Christmas was. So she took it upon herself to say, well, I'm not going to do that part. I'm going to celebrate Christ, and we're going to do this. We're going to eat. We do the meal and stuff like that. We just didn't do the tree and the festivities. And then she said there were so many people who were not able to do it that it became a depression of a time. And so she just chose not to do all the big tree and hoopla and the decorating of the house. But I mean, we still ate together as a family for Christmas. We still came together and talked about our year and stuff like that, but we just didn't do the original Christmas.
I think a lot of people are at a place now where they can now have the fun and festivities of Christmas without the extra.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And you don't always have to have a tree to make it Christmas. It don't always have to be lights everywhere for it to be Christmas. However, you know, the atmosphere of the holiday season brings about joy and fun and peace and stuff.
Right.
And so I think when we get wrapped into all the extra stuff and trying, I gotta go get a gift for this one, I gotta go buy for this, and I gotta go do for that, then you start getting into the monetary and to the physical,
right.
And then people start to lose sight of what the season was really about, which was the birth of Jesus Christ. So to me, I think there needs to be a balance between both spiritual, so you can keep a constant base on what the season is all about.
And I think too, for her, it was we have to think back in when the time she was coming up.
Right, absolutely.
And then she had 10 kids.
That makes sense.
So
Yeah, that's a lot of gifts.
yeah, that's a lot of stuff.
For a lot of years.
Going on that aspect of having, you know, so many kids and the financial part of it, do you guys know any, I mean, if it's not you, do you know any families that pretty much almost go into bankruptcy trying to buy gifts for the children? And,
Yes.
Well, I be forgetting she on this phone, Lord.
Octavia is also, you know, chiming in. She's representing the single women that don't have children. You know, but this is the thing, because I was a single woman at one point in time.
You're not anymore.
Yes, but I was. And what I found out is that as a single woman, they always expected me to have all the gifts for everybody. Do you find that to be true, Octavia?
Right, because it's then they're looking at, if single has no kids, all of us.
You don't have a financial burden.
Exactly.
Someone with kids.
But they don't consider, that's just because we don't have a financial burden on someone with kids. We
have a lot of money, and they're gonna make out, and you'll make out, or come on, we're gonna talk, and this is gonna be our year for this year.
Okay, she's breaking up a little bit, but what she was saying was that the financial burden, they don't think that we have a financial burden, or we didn't have a financial burden in my case. But the thing is, just because we didn't spend money on the kids, you know, we had other stuff we spent money on.
Had a responsibility, you still had to.
The kids were not my responsibility.
Right.
I didn't have.
But see, but that kind of goes back to Pastor and myself. We don't have children. However,
You have godchildren and children in the church.
We got children. We expect to get
exactly. See, that's a perfect example.
You know, Family Dollar has these nice little dollar,
But that's
99 birthday, holiday.
But let me ask you this: is that really fair? Because let's look at the big picture. If we try to buy for everybody child and everybody, that's like that's 20-something gifts.
Yeah.
Because we don't have children.
To the dollar store.
But
y'all don't have to buy for nobody.
But here's where I'm at though. Even if we had the money to cover all of that, you still got to think about, you got different personalities, you got different types of children, and that have different types of likes
Preferences.
and preferences. So you have to be, you have to me, I think when you start passing out gifts, you have to be cautious and careful and really go in really prayerfully trying to make these decisions whether or not it's going to be beneficial, because you can give one child one thing and it'll cause big controversy for the rest of us.
One thing about me is it has been said that, and I know they say it, they don't tell me to my face, but I know they say it.
Do they say it?
They say that I give sucky gifts. I know it's been said.
I love my hand sanitizers.
I'm not talking about y'all.
Oh, okay.
I'm talking about during
That's
Christmas.
a gift we can use all the time.
I know, but I'm talking about during Christmas. Because I try to stretch the dollar. Because like I said, people think last year I didn't have a job. Thank God I have one this year. But I also have additional bills.
Oh, you're supposed to hold up the clap.
But the thing is, you know, I still try to stretch the dollar.
Right.
And when I give the gifts, I can't give everybody, you know, a $50 gift card to Walmart, or I can give everybody.
Right.
And so what I can do is
Do a raffle.
That would
You do
not
a raffle
be
in
a
your
bad
house?
idea.
Oh,
That would
Lord.
not be a bad idea.
No,
but
really.
the thing is,
Actually, wait, hold on. You do a raffle?
No.
Oh, I would say that'd be pretty neat.
but
Hey, everybody just
For
pick that.
the people that do not have kids.
Just pick your name out there and see what kind of gift you're gonna
but
get.
see, but my point is, because I don't have the money to get everybody everything
Make that
nice,
work.
I try to give everybody something, because it's the idea of sharing
Right.
during Christmas.
You got a job?
So when did Christmas get to the point where it just became like, you know, just everything was about what can you get me? You know,
The gift.
I want a good gift. I want this video game. I want that and that.
Well, I can say about 6 or 7 years ago, I was able to give my kids whatever they wanted. So we would all gather at my mom's house. The living room was so packed, the kids really couldn't even get in. So I really spent like $5,000 on my kids. That was so much money. But after that Christmas, I realized, half of the toys either I didn't buy the batteries for, or they didn't even play with because they found one toy that they wanted. So being that we recognize that Christ's birthday is celebrated on the 25th, I told my kids this: would you want someone else receiving birthday presents on your birthday? That's how we look at it. So from now on, I mean, from then on, every Christmas, I don't break my back to go and get all these elaborate gifts and things like that. You're gonna get one thing, maybe two, but one thing that you want for Christmas.
Right, and that makes sense. That makes sense because there are people that go out and take out loans and go out there and run up credit cards and stuff.
Now with the loan.
I mean, it's so bad where they start advertising Christmas before Thanksgiving is over.
Right.
So it makes it hard.
Yes.
But really, and it makes it hard. It makes it
pumpkins is Christmas
and
tree.
then you, of course, you got Black Friday out there and Cyber Monday and all these, you know, deal. So everybody's trying to hustle to go and buy and purchase and stuff. And I think in sharing, it's hard to do that if you don't share the real reason for doing it in the first place.
Let me ask you ladies something, and Octavia, if you can hear me. Let me ask you this.
You ain't gonna
Well, you two.
That's all right.
What would happen if on Christmas morning you woke up and you gave them a scripture, and that's it?
Well, first of all, you know my daughter.
So
And it would be very dramatic in my house.
Oh my
Let me just say that. You don't love me. What are you thinking, Mom? Yeah, she'll probably start doing some
In the
stuff.
baby house, we did that.
She would start losing it.
Where's your baby house?
Our house.
You and I?
No, when I was young,
Okay.
we had,
She said
there
she don't
was
want
scripture.
to No, to be honest.
And it taught us something though. You know, honestly, you know, my family was, everything we did had scripture to it. So it kind of helped us as we grew older to know and identify the Bible. But that made sense. It didn't make sense then, but it makes sense now because we couldn't even open presents without knowing scriptures, you know, and verses and stuff like that. And so, I mean, you know, I think to emphasize Christ more than the gift itself, because it really wasn't a gift that, you know, that people celebrated, even though the wise men came and brought frankincense and myrrh and stuff. They brought that, but look at where Jesus was. He was born in the inn. You know, there was nothing. There was
He was born in a barn.
I mean, you know, at the end, he was at the end in the end. But I'm saying he was in a no. I mean, there was no name. There was nothing going on. So for him to be born in that, it wasn't about the gifts because he never did use the gifts. It was just the fact that he was brought as the gift for everybody else. So I think if we emphasize,
I was saying they probably lit some of that frankincense to kill that cow smell. That cow smell.
can you like that? Like that?
Spread that myrrh around. Woo. Y'all got no more frankincense?
Share the smell.
What is that?
What is that camel? Is that camel over there? Tell that camel to go outside. But I mean,
Spread African vine.
but that's what I'm saying. If you don't, if our focus is not on that, then we basically lose the whole method of why we even celebrate Christmas to begin with. I think that's the main thing.
So let me ask
So
y'all.
all families need to do it.
Let me ask y'all this, okay? And I already know the answer, but just to throw this out. Do you feel that society, well, I'm not going to even say society, do you feel that your own family has gotten so wrapped up in the materialistic stuff that they could not go with a Christmas without gifts? If you were to do that experiment, how would that work out?
I would say
They probably went on another year.
They what?
They probably went a year.
Sound like are you cursing? Because you beeping out at the same spot. It's beeping at the same spot.
What you say? They gonna have to do what a whole nother year?
They wouldn't see me for a year.
They wouldn't talk to her for
Oh, okay, thank you.
All right, amen.
It did at the same spot, didn't it? It did at the same spot. Octavia said her family wouldn't talk to her for a year. I mean, the thing is, to be honest, this year,
Text us while you talking. Text us what you're saying, so we.
I don't know if my family is watching, but they might be getting some cookies this year. I kid you not.
To try. Now I can say, you know what? I really appreciate the time and effort you spent to do that.
And I think that's important too,
it depends on where you are.
That everybody's not at that place.
Right.
And so if I was to come to somebody and say, look, I got $100, I want to bless somebody, but at the same time, well, let's say I lose the $100, and I can't do it. Would that person be mad? Would that person be mad because I promised that I had it,
Right.
and I done lost it, or something happened, and you know what I'm saying? That to me, if I was to go and go and find a hat that I never wear and say, okay, well look, I don't have the $100. Look, this is what I have. It came from my heart. I think the genuine thing is that people start to lose sight of where it comes from,
Right.
and we start trying to put a value on what was given versus where it came from.
Right. It's just like the lady in the Bible who gave her last.
Right. Exactly.
God honored that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but if that would have been us,
Right.
I would have looked at you sideways.
Like,
but
church can't survive on no $2 pennies.
Right.
I agree.
It do depend on your level of maturity and where you are in life. You know, you have to be went through some things to really appreciate the little things that people do now.
And on my side of the family, actually on both sides, for the holidays, I enjoy us getting together and having the dinner and playing games, and I enjoy that more than opening up a gift. Because because the gift, even though the gift, the gifts I get, they last forever. Trust me. Even though it'll last, it's the memories to me that mean so much, because those are the things that shape and form who we are. Now I don't want to get in your business, but you having a husband, you have a significant other, okay? And let me ask you this: if your significant other, Harrison, I'm putting his name out there, if he could not buy you a gift, and he's here in the audience, if he couldn't buy you a gift, would you be upset with him?
No.
Oh, no, because I ain't buying
Not you. We talk. You.
Harrison and Netcha. See, I didn't want to ask if you had a boo. I didn't want to ask.
No, and I mean, she said no, and I agree with her, because
I know if he was able to, then he would have, but.
Huh?
What the?
You talking Chinese? You speaking in tongues? Text us what you're saying, so we'll know what
To
you're
pass the phone.
Well, the reason I ask is because, one thing, let's be honest, media really,
It will mess you up.
it really has really put big emphasis and persuaded us to see this holiday the way they see it. Not so much, they've taken the Christ out of Christmas, so to speak. But all you see on TV are the commercials with Hillsburg Diamonds and every kiss begins with K. All that. And
You knew I was going for it.
But I'm just saying, that's what they, even the car commercials, y'all know the Mercedes. Is it the Mercedes or Lexus?
The Lexus.
It's one of the luxury cars that come out and there's a big bow on the car. And, oh, honey, oh. My husband ain't never gave me no car. I mean, he probably will one day. I'm claiming it.
Baby, I'm going to wrap myself up in it.
Hey, we on TV.
What the? Ew.
Oh, Jesus.
Let me go back to
This has just turned.
But anyway,
Let me go back to your question.
let's go back. The reason I asked about that's why I asked about the significant others is because media, like I said, media has really shaped the way they want us to see Christmas, because they want it to be commercial.
Right. When me and my husband were together when we were married, we never did gifts. We never did gift exchange. Everything was about the kids, first of all. And we didn't do gift exchange, and we didn't buy gifts for the kids. That's why I said I have wonderful, wonderful in-laws. They bought all the gifts, and they still do. I've never had to buy school supplies. Thank you, Jesus. I've never had to buy Christmas stuff. They take care of our kids. But even then, we didn't expect gifts from each other. We just made sure that we were there for the kids, and it was about the kids. And even with him, it was a sharing thing. We would go give blankets to the homeless, or whatever we could do that year, we did. And if not, we went to family house and spent time. So we never exchanged gifts at Christmas.
Now, in this last 5 minutes, we're going to get ready to start wrapping up. Let me ask you this, and I don't know if we can do this in 5 minutes. We're going to try. When did Christmas start being all about the kids? In other words, it got to a point where if I don't get anything, as long as my kids get something, when did it get to that?
I think when they are at an age and they are aware of people getting gifts, and when they come back home and they like, Mom, what we ain't got no gift, we ain't got no tree. And when they begin to, for me, at that age where they could realize that, oh wait, the next door neighbor got lights, or they got why they riding new bikes today? You know what I'm saying? That's when it became to us. We were like, okay, we got to make a decision. What are we gonna do? What are we gonna? So I think it's when the kids became to realize it. And
well, let's take it broader then. Do you think because children are seeing these commercials and seeing what's on TV and seeing the influence and, you know, Jeffrey and I'm just really putting all these companies out here, Toys R Us and, you know, all that stuff, you know, every year they send the catalogs and everything. Do you think that that is what's causing everything to be focused on what the kids want?
Right.
So once again, the media is the
Because
culprit.
once you walk into Walmart, what's the first thing you see? They have the big toy display, the Xbox display, or, you know what I'm saying? We're getting things in the mail, the sales papers and all that.
Exactly.
You lay it on the table and they ripping through and trying to see what they want. So I think it's everywhere, and it gets to a point. And then once you become a parent too, your first response is, I want to see my kids happy.
Open up their gifts and they light up.
Right.
And then you got to think about it. You got to even think about movies that's been out. You know that you know people hustling up for trees and trying to make sure they got gifts under there and make sure that it looks
like what they see on TV.
And so a lot of that has to do with the commercial and what is advertised.
Okay, Pastor Bailey, if you could sum up in one
If
good
I
scripture,
could sum up.
in one good scripture, the whole meaning of Christmas, what would you give us?
If I can sum up the whole meaning, it's easy. John 3:16. For God so loved the world that He gave His only begotten Son. Whosoever believes in Him shall not perish but have
Everlasting life.
It's important.
Okay.
It's important. He gave. That was the whole purpose of the season. Him giving His Son.
Would you say that that the gift, and I've heard you preach this, I've heard it teached, I heard it spoken, that in the Old Testament, the gift was concealed, and in the New Testament, the gift was revealed. In other words, it was manifested in the New. So, last few minutes, speaking of manifestation, 2.5 months ago, you gave, you said we were going into 90 days of manifestation. And it's only befitting that not only does it end at the end of the year, but it also is around Christmas time that we're talking about manifestations. And since Christ was like the biggest manifestation, it's like we're celebrating our own manifestations around that same time. So let me ask you this in the last few minutes of the broadcast. In this manifestation time, in this going on, I think we got about 2-3 weeks left in our manifestations. Have you been seeing your manifestations come past?
Absolutely, I have. I mean, as you pray and as you see God, and I believe God is openly rewarding openly, manifesting and rewarding us. I just totally missed that. Openly.
Yes.
Rewarding and revealing Himself even more. And I think we're and here's the blessing to the manifestation is that right when it ends, it begins a new season or something. And so we're walking right into a new season of a whole nother prosperous production of God. And so I believe during this season of sharing and caring, we got to be able to watch what we sow.
And
just
celebrate
sow
our
well.
manifestation.
Yeah, and celebrate what God is going to reveal back to us. One plants,
What?
one plants, one water.
Oh, I thought you say one planet.
God
I'm
gives
like,
in.
what show you to?
What?
One plants, one waters,
God
one God
gives
gives
in.
an increase. I would like to thank our guests for joining us.
You're so welcome.
Lady,
Good.
no, let me get to that. Lady Netra Williams,
Yes.
Evangelist Tina Jefferson. Thank you so much for joining us, for giving us a little bit of a peek into your private lives and everything, and being a little transparent. Not totally transparent, just a little kind of. Yeah, look, yeah, so thank you so much for sharing with us.
Yes.
And also my fill-in co-host, I thank you so much for helping, Pastor Robert Bailey Jr.
Absolutely.
Dynamic man of God. He's a dynamic man of God. We invite you to come out to Restoration of Praise Fellowship, 9 o'clock service. Can you give us the address?
That is 16740 Hedgecroft Street, Suite 402, Houston, Texas 77060. The number is 281-272-1699.
So if you have, if you like to have prayer, we have a prayer request line. You can call in. We will have somebody that's will return your call, or either will take your prayer request. If you want more information, call our number to get more information. And we have so many things coming up. New Year's, we'll give you more details about that.
Texas Sunday.
Texan Sunday, for those that want to come visit, we're wearing our Texan shirt, and I don't care if they lost yesterday.
We still represent.
Still are proud of our Texans.
Yes.
We are, because they are still winners.
Yes. It's not over. It's not over yet. It's not over.
And that number is 272-1699.
Or you can visit us at www.restorationofpraise.org.
Once again, thank you guys. It was real. Evangelist Octavia on the phone, we thank her.
Yes, our host. Yes, hallelujah.
Thank you for sharing with us. It's been real. And join us next time on The Walk,
See you later.
where we worship and live kingdom.